So I finally made it out to see Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and I saw it in the theater the way this movie deserves to be seen, but unfortunately, most of you will not be able to see this movie that way. I was lucky enough to not only be able to see it in a theater, but work at the theater that's showing the movie, so I got to go in for free. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, it's great to see on a big screen, of course. But I think it just makes this whole thing sad. Because Guillermo del Toro is one of the best directors of all time, and it's kind of crazy that a guy who's already won Best Picture, as acclaimed as he is still not given the money to make projects. And so he has to rely on people like Netflix to make projects, but unfortunately, they don't see the value of releasing the movies in theaters or really marketing movies. And it's kind of crazy that they even make movies for that reason. But I'm grateful that they do because we get great movies like Pinocchio and this movie as well from them. So I will be honest, I did not love this movie. I think it's a very mixed bag of a movie for me. I love Del Toro's work, and all of his signature stuff is here. The beautiful flair to everything. This movie is beautifully shot, and cinematography is wonderful. Uh, the the score to this movie is really good, and the performances are all really good. I think where this movie gets hurt for me is that this is a long movie. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, and I don't feel like Frankenstein as a story has enough to really make that. It's a very short novel. It's always been short in adaptation form, and the way they adapt this movie and the stuff that they add to it, I mean, is good, but it also makes this movie take a while to get going and have momentum, and I felt like parts of it didn't really work for me. But then again, that might change on rewatch. I'm kind of being vague about some of it because I don't really want to say too much about what they change, what they do. Uh, don't change here because um, you won't be able to see this movie until it hits Netflix. And, I'm reviewing this early because I was able to see it in a theater, which I think if you have the opportunity to, you must go see this in a theater. This is just the way it needs to be seen. But, I just don't want to spoil it since the film's out, but not out all at the same time. It's annoying that Netflix does things this way. But any Netflix movie in theaters, I'm going to try and see just to really show my support. In fact, I got tickets for K-pop Demon Hunters this weekend. Anyways, yeah, I really liked a lot of that stuff. I liked a lot of the amazing stuff here. From production wise, but I just feel like the stuff that they added really stretched this movie out and made it feel like a little too long. Another thing I will say I really did like about this movie is this is a very different version of Frankenstein. First of all, Frankenstein's monster. I said it right. Okay, don't yell at me in the comments. People are sticklers about that. I don't know why, but he looks like nothing you've ever seen in a Frankenstein movie adaptation. We're used to the green makeup and the bolts in the neck and things like that. But you see him in this movie, and it's nothing like that. And of course, part of it is Universal, the green makeup stuff, but it still doesn't look anything like a version of Frankenstein I've ever seen before. I mean, I haven't seen every version of Frankenstein. It's a character that's in the public domain, so they just kind of pump this shit out all the time. So you never know how many versions. Excuse me. Of Frankenstein there is. And we'll get to that point eventually with Michael Myers, that there'll be so many fucking versions of Michael Myers because Michael Myers is public domain. Right, Michael? He agrees with me. Look at him back there. So handsome. I'm just saying. So I got a lot out of this movie. I think the themes of a man creating something but not really understanding what that really means and being able to take fully responsibility. I mean, that could really be a metaphor for parenthood, bringing a child into the world, not really understanding what that means. Because in a way, he's got to teach this monster to speak. But also could be a metaphor for a lot of things that I think reach the current age of technology. Now we're, A lot of people are playing God nowadays when it comes to technology, and that's causing some things. So I think these themes still hold up, and the way Del Toro explores all that is really beautiful stuff. I just wish the movie had maybe been cut down about 10, 15 minutes, and maybe uh, just not had taken so long to get going, because I think it just really hurt this movie overall. But I do think that this movie is still a really strong adaptation, and it's still one of the better ones out there in more recent memory, anyways. Yeah, I hope to actually review more Universal Monster movies at some point. I really need to do that, but tracking down those box sets, they're available, but I never ended up pulling the trigger. I might have to do that soon. Let me know your thoughts.